Have you ever noticed him watching you when he thought you weren't aware? That tiny shift in his tone when he speaks only to you? The unconscious mind never lies. Even when his words sound careful or guarded, his soul may have already made its choice. And that choice is you. What if I told you that the man who sometimes leaves you puzzled with his mixed signals might actually be more in love with you than even he knows? Carl Jung discovered that our truest emotions often bypass logic. They show themselves through the small, spontaneous things we do without realizing it. When a man's soul recognizes yours, his body starts to reveal what his lips are still afraid to confess. Many women mistake a man's quietness for indifference, when in truth, it could mean the complete opposite. The deepest kind of love doesn't always arrive with big words or grand gestures. It moves quietly. It changes the way he feels, acts, and even sees the world, often before either of you fully understands what's happening. These are the signs that his soul has already chosen you, even if his mind hasn't caught up yet. The man who sometimes confuses you with his silences or sudden distance might actually be far more in love with you than he realizes. Because real love doesn't always begin through logic or explanation. Sometimes it slips in through the way he dreams of you, the way his energy changes around you, or the way he looks at you when he thinks you're not watching. Jung said that what we don't make conscious appears in our lives as fate. The same is true for love. Even if he hasn't yet admitted his feelings to himself, his soul may already be acting for him. Before we go deeper into this message, I want you to comment one word: resonance. Not for me, but for yourself. Because when you write a word that truly connects with your heart, you give your soul permission to acknowledge what it already feels. So if something inside you moves when you hear these words, if a part of you feels seen and understood, write resonance in the comments and let the universe echo back to you. Now, how can you really know if he's in love? What are the real signs from his heart and his unconscious that reveal his feelings, even if he never speaks them? This won't be about cliches or text message behavior. We're going deeper, into what Jung called the symbols of the soul, into how a man unconsciously expresses love when something in him vibrates every time you're near, even if he can't explain why. Listen carefully to each sign, because the biggest mistake many people make is waiting for loud declarations or obvious gestures, and they miss the quiet truth. The way someone reorganizes their inner world once you become part of it. Jung believed that true love isn't something we decide. It's something that happens to us. It breaks down our walls and connects us with the deepest part of who we are. So open your sensitivity and your intuition as we move through these signs. If this man shows even one of them, if you've seen him act or react in these ways, it means he's been touched deeply by you, more than he probably admits, maybe even more than he understands. I'll take you through them step by step, from the subtlest to the most revealing, because this isn't just about knowing whether he loves you. It's about seeing how a soul responds when it meets something real. When a man is moved by a woman's presence on a deep level, even if he can't describe it, his behavior begins to shift in ways he can't easily control. The first sign is in how his attention changes. Not the kind of attention that's loud or meant to impress, but a quieter one, sincere, focused, and effortless. He starts to notice small things others would miss. How you really feel, even when you say you're fine. How your energy changes when something's bothering you. How your hair looks slightly different, even if you didn't mention it. This isn't just curiosity or attraction. It's a deeper awareness. Jung believed that strong emotions project themselves outward so we can recognize them. That's why his attention feels different. It's not calculated. It comes from something authentic inside him. He doesn't need to see you every day to think of you. You might find that he brings you up randomly, remembers small details you shared long ago, or checks in about something you thought he forgot. He's not doing it for approval. His unconscious mind is gently pulling him toward you. He's processing feelings that haven't fully reached the surface yet, but they're already shaping his actions. This isn't dependency or obsession, it's resonance. Your energy has awakened something in him that is now speaking without words. Another powerful sign shows up in how he behaves when he's around you. Some men act the same with everyone, but when a man's heart is touched, his behavior with you changes. He might appear softer, more open, or even a little unsure. Real love doesn't make someone flawless. It makes them human. It strips away their masks. If he only lets his guard down with you, if the silence between you feels peaceful instead of awkward, that's not chance. That's emotional safety. And there's something even deeper. Jung said that whatever the soul loves, it naturally wants to protect. That's why this man may start caring for you in small, almost instinctive ways. He might ask if you got home safely, remind you to eat, or check that you're not walking alone late at night. It's not control, it's connection. Something inside him has begun to see your well-being as part of his own. When that happens, when he quietly looks out for you, when he gives without expecting anything, it means that, deep inside, he's already included you in his inner world. He might not put it into words, he might not even fully understand it, but his soul has already recognized yours. So, if you're noticing these behaviors, if these words are striking a chord, don't overlook them. Don't assume his silence means confusion or lack of interest. Often, what's unfolding inside him is far more powerful than it seems on the surface. Stay with me, because what comes next reveals the even deeper signs, the ones that only appear when a real soul connection exists. There are moments when a man doesn't have to say anything, because his energy already gives him away. It's as if his presence alone is speaking. Maybe he hasn't confessed his love or made promises, but there's something undeniable in how he looks at you, how his breathing subtly shifts when you're near, how he falls into silence beside you without needing to fill the air with words. That silence isn't emptiness, it's presence. It's his soul tuning into yours with nothing in the way, because when a man loves you more than he dares to admit, his body tells the story even when his words don't. Pay attention to how he reacts when others mention you. If you're in a group and someone compliments you, watch his eyes. If someone criticizes you, see how his expression changes. Love doesn't have to be conscious to protect what it values. Even if he's confused, his instincts will reveal the truth. Jung said that the unconscious has its own intelligence. It moves us before we even understand why. So if he reacts every time your name comes up, even in small ways, it means something deep within him has already decided you matter more than he realized. And that, more than any words, is how a man's soul quietly confesses its love. Through the unplanned, the unconscious, and the beautifully human ways he shows you that you are already a part of him. When someone feels something genuine for you, they always show it through effort. It doesn't have to be dramatic or loud. It often lives in the little things. It's in how he truly listens when you speak, how he remembers details you shared long ago, how he shifts his time to be there for you, or how he apologizes when he feels he hasn't been his best. That quiet consistency reveals more than 1,000 big words ever could. Because when someone doesn't feel, they stay still. But when love starts to stir inside someone, they move toward you naturally. Not to impress, not from duty, but because their inner world is already reshaping itself to make space for you. And here's something very few people ever notice. When a man is deeply moved by your presence, the change doesn't stop when you're gone. His routine starts to alter. His thoughts become unpredictable. He may seem distracted, more thoughtful, or even restless. It's as if something has been awakened inside him and he doesn't quite know why, but somehow you're there, present in his thoughts, in his emotions, woven into the small parts of his life that used to run automatically. Jung often spoke about the invisible figures within us that hold the power to transform us, even without physical contact. Without trying, you've become one of those figures, a living presence within his inner world. He might never say it out loud, and he may even try to deny it, but you're already there. That's why it's important not to take surface behavior too seriously. Many men stay silent not because they feel nothing, but because it's hard to translate the language of the soul into ordinary words. This is where your intuition matters. You can feel what he hasn't yet realized, that his heart has already chosen you quietly. And if you learn to notice these subtle signals, you'll see a clearer picture of love, one that can completely change the way you understand connection. There's a slow transformation that happens inside a man when he truly falls in love. It's not sudden or dramatic. It unfolds quietly but with incredible depth. This change begins when he starts letting go of old patterns and defenses that once defined his daily life. Maybe he used to avoid emotional closeness. Maybe he preferred solitude or freedom. But since you entered his world, something inside him is shifting. It's no longer enough to think only of himself. He starts opening emotional and mental space, almost unconsciously, as if his soul is adjusting to a new inner landscape that now includes you. Notice if he begins to share pieces of his life with you that he keeps hidden from others. Not just stories or random memories, but the fragile private parts, his regrets, fears, and unspoken dreams. When a man connects to you on that level, he's showing you his raw humanity. Not to impress you, not to look strong, but because he's beginning to trust you in a way he's never trusted anyone before. At this stage, it's no longer about charm or chasing. It's not a game anymore. It's surrender. And that quiet surrender, even if it looks small from the outside, is the clearest proof that something fundamental has changed inside him. Jung once said that the soul needs a mirror to see itself. Through your presence, you've become that mirror. He sees you, and through you, he begins to see himself more clearly. There's another sign that often goes unnoticed: how he reacts to your emotions. Not everyone can handle another person's emotional depth, but when a man is truly connected to you, he begins to feel your emotional waves as if they were his own. When you're happy, he lights up with you. When you're sad, he feels uneasy, even if he can't explain why. He might not always ask, "Are you okay?" But you'll see it in his eyes, hear it in the softening of his voice, or feel it in the way he comes closer without knowing what to say, only knowing he wants to be there. That instinct, to stand beside you through emotions he doesn't fully understand, is one of the most honest forms of love there is. It's not polished or scripted. It's raw and real, the kind that grows from the unconscious rather than the mind. Perhaps the clearest sign of all is what happens when you're not around. Watch how he behaves in your absence. If he brings you up in random conversations, if he saves small things to tell you later, or if something happens and you're the first person who comes to mind, then you've already taken root in him. When someone continues to think of you without your physical presence to remind them, that's not coincidence. That's the soul speaking. What lingers when you're gone is far stronger than what's said when you're near. Love that exists in silence, in memory, and in absence. That's the kind of love that defines real connection. And none of this is about guessing games or mind reading. It's about learning to listen with your heart, not your ears. Because love rarely arrives with clear explanations. It comes with the kind of signs only the soul can send when it starts recognizing another soul. There comes a point when a man, often without realizing it, begins to need your presence, not as routine, but as balance. He may not voice it with romantic speeches or planned words, but you'll feel it. His energy changes when you're far away. Maybe he doesn't text right away, but you'll notice his restlessness when he hasn't heard from you. Maybe he shows up just when you start to drift away, or finds a reason, any reason, to reappear in your world. This isn't obsession or dependency, it's genuine connection. It's the kind of pull that comes from deep within, from a place even he can't fully explain. And Jung would say that makes perfect sense, because the unconscious doesn't follow logic or time. Once a real emotion has taken root there, it starts shaping his thoughts, impulses, and choices in ways he can't control. You'll see it most clearly in how he starts to value your opinion. Even in things that don't concern you directly, he'll want to know what you think. He might ask for your thoughts about his plans or ideas, not to seek validation, but because your perspective genuinely matters to him. You've become part of the emotional compass that guides him. He might even open up about his fears or uncertainties, not because he expects you to fix them, but because you've become the person with whom he feels safe enough to be unguarded. His soul has recognized in you a sanctuary, a presence where he can lay down his armor and simply be. And when a man reaches that point, when he can be vulnerable with you without pretending or performing, that's love in its purest form. Real love isn't built on perfect certainty. It's built on trust, on the willingness to be seen as imperfect and still stay. That deep, quiet trust he gives you, even if he doesn't fully realize it, is one of the most powerful signs that he feels something true. But what confirms everything is what happens in his imagination. Listen when he talks about the future. He might say things like, "One day I'd love to visit that place," or "Someday I'll do that." And without meaning to, he's already placed you there beside him. He doesn't need to say it directly. His words will slip, revealing that in his inner world, you're already part of his vision. Those small phrases, those unplanned moments of imagining, are the windows into his unconscious. They show that in his mind, you're not temporary. You're woven into his picture of what's ahead. And you don't need to push him or demand clarity, because when love is real, the soul will always reveal it through actions, through energy, through the smallest gestures that say, "You matter here." If he's doing these things, if his energy, his attention, and his actions all keep leaning toward you, then it's already real, even if he doesn't understand it yet, even if he hasn't found the courage to put it into words. Because love, when it's true, doesn't always announce itself. It simply lives quietly inside him, reshaping everything he is, one heartbeat at a time. Because when the soul has already chosen, everything else becomes only a matter of time. And in that waiting, you begin to see with the eyes of the soul what the mind is still too afraid to name. Stay with me, because there's still more to uncover. When a man starts looking at you as if you're something he can't afford to lose, something subtle starts to shift in the way he connects with you. And that shift isn't on the surface. It's not just about being more affectionate or texting more often. It's about how his inner world starts to rearrange itself around your presence. Because when a feeling is genuine, the other person doesn't remain just another part of life. They become essential to it. You'll notice it in small ways, in how he begins to prioritize you without ever announcing it. Maybe he's having a busy day, pulled in 10 directions, yet he still finds a way to show up. Not out of duty, but out of something deeper, a quiet need to not miss being there. Because being with you, even in silence, brings him peace. And peace is one of the most underestimated emotions in love, yet one of the most powerful. Love isn't only about passion or excitement. True love, the kind that grows in the unconscious, the kind Jung studied and described as a force that transforms us, also shows itself through calm, through the comfort of being accepted exactly as you are. When he feels that peace with you, when he senses he doesn't have to perform or hide his flaws, when he knows he can be imperfect and still be seen, he begins to see you as home. Not a place, but a feeling, a soft, emotional refuge. And when that happens, something even deeper begins quietly taking place. He starts aligning with you without you ever asking him to. Maybe he takes interest in what you enjoy. Maybe he starts paying attention to your passions, your thoughts, your dreams, the things that light you up. He doesn't lose his individuality. He simply learns the beauty of sharing what was once his alone. This isn't random. Jung explained that when two souls start to truly resonate, the boundaries between them soften, and from that, real intimacy is born. It's not just attraction, it's a deep, unspoken recognition, a sense of belonging that words can't describe. Notice also how he stands up for you even when you're not there to hear it. Maybe you'll never know, but in quiet moments, inside conversations, he protects your name. Not for praise or attention, but because somewhere deep inside he feels that protecting you is part of protecting what he's begun to love. Real love doesn't always speak loudly. Sometimes it doesn't speak at all. It acts. It shows itself through gestures that often go unseen. That's why the love that defends you in silence is the most powerful kind. So if he does this, if he changes small things in his life without realizing, if he looks after you in ways you don't always notice, if he thinks of you before making decisions, don't overlook it. You're witnessing an emotional truth even he might not fully understand yet. It's in that space, before logic and fear step in, where the purest part of love takes root. Stay here, because we're reaching the deeper signs of a love that can no longer hide. And when you finally arrive at that point, when you look back and see how much he's changed without intending to, how his silence, his gestures, his presence speak louder than any confession, that's when you realize something profound. Real love doesn't always arrive with fireworks or grand words. It often comes as quiet consistency, as unspoken tenderness, as care that doesn't need to be witnessed. When a man loves you more than he consciously knows, his soul has already made a choice his mind is only beginning to catch up to. Jung taught us that the unconscious never lies, that within us exists a deeper truth, one that reveals itself through emotions, symbols, and actions that words can't always explain, but that are undeniably real. If you've seen these signs, if you've felt this connection, if some part of you just knows that what's happening between you two isn't by chance, listen to that. Trust it. Because often, what we call doubt is simply the mind trying to understand what the soul already accepts. In the end, what we seek isn't perfect declarations of love, but the quiet resonance of two souls that have already recognized each other. The signs aren't written in drama or big promises, but in subtle shifts, in priorities that change, in gravity that pulls him back to you even when logic says otherwise. Jung understood that the deepest bonds rise from a place below awareness, from the raw, unguarded self untouched by strategy or fear. When a man reshapes his inner world to make space for you, when his energy feels different both in your presence and your absence, when he shows you vulnerability without armor, that is love before words. It's recognition at the level of being. And if you're still here, listening, it's because somewhere in your own soul, this truth is echoing, not with grand speeches, but with calm knowing. Because when love is real, it doesn't need to demand, prove, or perform. It simply stays. It becomes steady, constant, a quiet force that wraps around you before you even notice. That's when you understand. True love isn't just an emotion, it's a language. And that language doesn't rely on words. You see it in moments others might miss, in the way he pauses a second longer when he looks at you, in how he remembers small things you thought he forgot, in how his energy shifts the moment you walk into the room. What might seem ordinary to others feels sacred to you, This kind of love isn't about perfection. Conscious love is never built on fantasy. There will be doubts, silences, pauses, and distance. But even within those cracks, there's a presence that doesn't disappear, because what's born from the soul can't be broken by fear or time. Jung spoke of individuation, the path toward one's true self. And along that path, he said, we sometimes meet another soul that vibrates on the same frequency. When that happens, when two people who are still healing cross paths, they don't try to complete each other. They simply choose to walk together. The man who loves you more than he knows might not always find the words. He might wrestle with his own fears, with insecurities that whisper he's not enough. But if you watch closely, his actions betray his fears. Even when he's unsure, he stays. Even in confusion, he doesn't let go completely. Because somewhere inside, his soul recognizes you as home. And when one soul finds a home in another, something irreversible begins. It's no longer about need or attachment. It's about freedom. He's not asking you to fix him. He's asking you to walk beside him. And you, without even realizing, become a mirror, reflecting not only his wounds but also his light. You remind him of who he is beneath all the noise. That's why his calmness with you is more than comfort. It's trust. Jung believed that we only let our guard down before what feels safe and real. So when he shows you his flaws, his doubts, his contradictions, see it not as weakness, but as the most courageous act of all. Many people are still chasing love that dazzles and shouts. But what you're witnessing is something different. A love that stays, that doesn't need to prove itself. A love that doesn't promise the moon because it's already quietly building a refuge on earth. And though it might look simple, that kind of love is vast. Because it doesn't depend on the moment, it depends on the connection. There will be times he pulls back, questions himself, wonders if he's enough. But even in that distance, the bond remains, an invisible thread that pulls him back toward you. Because once the soul chooses, the mind eventually follows. So, if you feel it too, if you notice the shifts in his presence and energy, you're not imagining it. You're understanding a subtle language only open hearts can hear. You are standing before something real, something beyond timing, beyond labels, beyond control. Something that grows quietly like a seed that blooms without being forced. He might not yet realize it. He might still call it coincidence or chemistry. But within him, another truth has already begun to awaken. A truth that makes him think of you without reason, defend you without effort, prioritize you without thought. That isn't taught, it's felt. It's born from within. And if the day comes when he finally finds the words his soul has been holding, it'll be because you gave him space, because you didn't rush it, because you understood that mature love doesn't demand pace. It moves in rhythm, like a dance. Sometimes one leads while the other waits. Sometimes both move together effortlessly. And within that rhythm, something sacred reveals itself. Something that simply is. As Jung said, the most authentic parts of us aren't at the surface, but deep within, in dreams, in emotions, in symbols that rise without warning. That's where true love lives. In the part of the soul, untouched by fear or masks. So if you see him changing, if you sense his priorities realigning, his energy softening whenever you're near, believe it, he's in love. Maybe he doesn't fully know it yet, maybe he can't say it, but his soul already has. And you, who feel it too, remember, you're not here by accident. You're standing at the edge of something real, something few ever experience. A love built quietly, step by step, gesture by gesture, until one day it no longer hides. And when that day comes, when both of you recognize it without fear, there won't be a need for promises. Because you'll already be walking the same path, not out of need, but choice. out of that deep certainty that real love doesn't shout, it simply changes everything. And as time flows forward, something in you shifts too. Not because of what he says, not because of his promises, but because his presence begins to live inside you.